welcome Justin Mohan sir for this lecture of today's on Biological Diversity Day. So the, it's already 12, so I think we should start our program today. We'll keep admitting the persons who will be joining in between. So Justin Mohan sir, let me thank you before I start the whole program today for joining us. I'm aware that you are in Kerala now, and it's quite heavy rainfall is going on there, and so we might have some problem in communication. But let us try our best to be sync together. I have a presentation with me, so in case you find it difficult, please let us know. We'll switch over from this side. So before we start our presentation, Justin Mohan sir, if you can switch on your camera, we'll be grateful so that all our audiences can see.
Yeah.
And
yes. The camera is switched on only.
Okay. No, thank you.
You are not able to see.
Yeah. Now you're visible, sir. Sir, we have.
You are not able to see, sir. You are not able to see.
No. We are able to see you, sir. Now it's visible.
Yeah.
Now it is visible.
Yeah.
Now it is visible, sir. Sir, we have our director, Dr. Prabodh Kumar Trivedi, with us today to start the program, and I'll request our director, sir, to start the program on this particular day, and to start the lecture. Before the lecture, just to introduce CMAP and how we work for the biodiversity at CMAP. So I'll request our director, Dr. Prabodh Kumar Trivedi.
Thank you, Dr. Mohan, and other team members. We are really happy that Justin Mohanji has agreed to give a presentation talk today. It's a very important day, which is International Day of Biological Diversity, and for which theme is be part of the plan and related to biodiversity, aligning with the global priorities such as ecosystem restoration, climate change mitigation, and or sustainable development. CSIR CMAP has been working in these areas for last like few decades, and CSIR is like CMAP is more than 60-year-old institute, and has worked with the farmers with the biodiversity restoration, biodiversification, sustainable development in all these areas. If you see in recent past, in last 5 years, our two programs like Aroma Mission and Floriculture Mission. Under Aroma Mission, we have developed about 3,000 cluster of the farmers across the country, and where lots of farmers are getting benefited, and we are providing them improved planting material as well as distillation unit. And distillation unit now, because if you see initially what farmers were doing, they were burning wood and de-oiled herb. Now we are coming out with the solar distillation unit, so that at least we restore, like this is for the sustainable development, as well as these are environmentally safe because carbon emission is minimum. We are developing varieties where low water or irrigation is required. Like if you see mentha, in which India is the major exporter, like and producer. 85% of the world's menthol production is in India. So and mentha takes lots of water. So there is need to develop varieties which are low water consuming, and CMAP has developed technology related to that, like early mint technology, which requires less water, and this has been given to farmers. CSIR CMAP conduct lot of awareness programs, like with 3,000 cluster of farmers and other entrepreneurs and startup. We talk to them about biodiversity, how to use planting material, what are good agricultural practices, what are sustainable development or sustainable development plans basically. Recently, with the help of industry as well as in Aroma Mission, we are now developing sustainable cluster of farmers in which whatever de-oil herb is there, that is being used for some other purposes. So waste to wealth, because otherwise this was either burned or was of no use. So, like cutlery making, then maybe for mushroom cultivation, this de-oil herb can be used. Cutlery making, and there are a number of things for which we are using this. Apart from that, we are keeping our biodiversity, trying to keep it safe. So we have one gene bank here in CMAP where improved varieties, whatever are being developed, or accessions or varieties, those are being collected from different places or being conserved here. We are working on tissue culture of RET varieties of medicinal and aromatic plants. So there are number of things where CMAP is working with respect to sustainable livelihood for the farmers and the tribals. If you talk about tribals, like CMAP is working in 20 tribal areas to enhance their livelihood, and in those areas where there are no roads, no electricity, no network, but we could reach there, and we reach there, given them improved planting material, given them our distillation unit, and improve their like income as well as livelihood. So this is how CMAP is working in the area of biodiversity, sustainable development for the farmers and for the like ecosystem restoration. So these were from my side about some of the activities from CMAP in this area. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And so before I request Justin Mohan sir to start with this presentation, I would like to, for the benefit of the audience, I would like to read out the bio profile of Justin Mohan sir. So Shri J.Justin Mohan belongs to the 1999 batch of the Indian Forest Services and was trained at the Indira Gandhi National Forest Academy, Dehradun, the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, and the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy Administration, Mussoorie. He joined as Secretary National Biodiversity Authority in September 2019. He was earlier heading the Kerala Soil Survey and Soil Conservation Department, Groundwater Department, and State Horticulture Mission, concurrently since September 2015, before joining the National Biodiversity Authority. He has also served in the Forest Department in different capacities as Divisional Forest Officer of Munnar and Palakkad divisions, as Wildlife Warden, and a Park Director of the Silent Valley National Park, and as Conservator of Forests of High Range Circle in Kerala. He was heading the Kerala Agricultural Department when the state faced unprecedented floods in July-August 2018, and he played a major role to revive the agriculture sector by assisting the affected farmers through a special package sanctioned by the central government. He also served as the first project director of the rupees 1840 crore Kutanad project, involving comprehensive development of the distressed Kutanad agrarian ecosystem spread across 3 districts of Kerala, where paddy is cultivated below the sea level in about 1 lakh acres. In 2011, Government of India appointed him as the first secretary in the High Commission of India, Colombo, to coordinate the relief, rehabilitation, and development of war-affected families in Sri Lanka. During his 3 years tenure, he implemented 50 major projects worth rupees 7,000 crores in Sri Lanka, including the Indian Housing Project, involving construction of 50,000 houses for the benefit of the conflict affected communities under the owner-driven approach. After completing his schooling from Compian Higher Secondary School in Trichy in 1990, he graduated in agriculture and completed his post-graduation in agriculture microbiology from Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Coimbatore, before joining the government. Thereafter, he completed his bachelor's degree in law from Kerala University and master's degree in law from National Law School of India in University, Bangalore. He also holds a master's degree in management and public policy from the Indian School of Business, Mohali, and an MBA degree from Alagappa University. He was the Tamil Nadu state topper in the civil services examination conducted by UPSC in 1998, but opted to join the Indian Forest Services, where he secured All India rank 8. He's also a recipient of the Global Tigers Tiger Forum Award, Wildlife Trust of India Award, and Nilgiri Wildlife Prize for contributions to wildlife conservation, the PCCF's Distinguished Certificate Award for contribution to forest management. The Scotch Award was conferred on the Soil Survey and Soil Conservation Survey Department, Kerala, for developing a mobile app on soils titled Mannu, that benefits the farmers to reduce the cost of cultivation through optimum application of manures. And the Best Department Award was received at the State Science Congress in 2017, when he was heading the department as director. He also obtained ICR scholarship for pursuing his master's degree in agriculture microbiology and had secured JNU scholarship for pursuing the post-graduation in biotechnology. He has represented Government of India in international forums at the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, Montreal, Canada, and Food and Agriculture Organization, Rome. He had also undergone a training in forest and environment management at Yale University, USA. He is the author of the management plan for Palakkad Forest Division and Munnar Division, and has authored popular articles in forestry, wildlife, agriculture, and soils. This is a brief biodata of him, and we are very much eager to hear from you, sir, now. So maybe I'll hand over the floor to you for your presentation.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Dr. Prabodh Kumar Tripathi, Director CMAP, Dr. Anirban Pal, who is the Director of Indian Ocean Rim Association, and who is actually organizing this program, and my dear scientists. Sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're
not audible, sir? Am I not audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Am I not audible, sir? Yeah. Okay. And all my dear scientists who are attending this online celebration of the International Day for Biodiversity. Greetings from Kerala. Since the weather is bad, I have joined through a laptop because this power is coming now and then. So I thought this is a better option. So, sir, I would make a brief presentation maybe for 40-45 minutes. And then if you have any doubts pertaining to this Biological Diversity Act or biological diversity laws in the country, and how, as a scientist, you can benefit from these laws, I'd be happy to clarify your doubts. I am so happy that CMAP is doing a lot of work in the conservation of medicinal and aromatic plants, particularly helping the farmers and also the tribal communities. In case you happen to do any project or work in Kerala, please let us know, because I am in charge of all the tribal settlements in Kerala. So in case you would like to have any collaboration with the Kerala Forest Department, we'll be very happy to partner with the CMAP scientists. I'll just go in for a presentation now. 1 second. Hi. Hello. 1 second. Sir, please permit to share the screen.
No issues, sir. No issues, sir. No issues.
Or can you share, sir?
We can.
Still,
we can.
The host has not given permission.
Oh, is it?
You can share, then I will speak. Sir.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So today we are celebrating the 23rd Biodiversity Day celebration, sir. As you know, India is one of the 196 countries which is party to this CBD, Convention on Biological Diversity. This text was signed on May 22nd and 9. Into the background, this convention originated from the United Nations Environment Program's Rio meet in 1990, the popularly called as the Earth Summit. So several conventions were born from the Earth Summit, and this is one of the conventions. This is the Biological Diversity Convention, Convention on Biological Diversity. And people like Dr. M.S. Swaminathan took the lead at that point of time because, as you know, in 1990s there were a lot of hue and cry when certain countries like United States started granting patents for certain species like neem, turmeric, and so on. So they wanted to ensure that the scientists or the communities which have been preserving these species or these biological resources for ages, they should not be taken for a ride. So this is the background for actually bringing in the access and benefit sharing mechanism also into the convention. And the convention per se has three broad objectives, and we have taken these objectives as the objectives of the Biological Diversity Act, which was enacted in 2002. Sir, go to the slideshow mode, sir. So this year's theme is Be Part of the Plan. The plan refers to the Global Biodiversity Framework, which was finalized in December 2023. It's popularly called as the Kunming-Montreal Post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework. So we have 23 targets and four goals. So this year's theme is that all the countries should be part of this plan. So they should prepare the national biodiversity strategy and action plan to part of the global biodiversity framework. So that is the theme of this year. And CMAP scientists have always been contributing to the National Biodiversity Authority and to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And they are part of several committees as well. And many of the scientists in their official or personal capacity, individual capacity, have been members of several committees formed by the National Biodiversity Authority. And we are happy that CMAP has been doing extraordinary work in conservation of our medicinal and aromatic plants, which are actually a major resource or a raw material for the Ayush industry, Ayush as well as several pharmaceutical industry. Sir, please, next slide. So with this brief introduction, I move to the presentation. Sir, as you know, biological resources, there are different stakeholders. One group actually are the conservators of these biological resources. One group actually use these biological resources, and these resources come primarily from forests, from the farmland, agriculture areas, and from scientific institutions, which preserve them in their gene bank. As you know, CMAP itself has your own gene bank. So scientific institutions are also a source of biological resources. Similarly, when we talk about the conservers or providers of biological resources, primarily they are farmers or tribal communities who gather biological resources from the forest for their livelihood. And of course, the scientific community, which actually conserves or protects these biological resources in several gene banks. And then you talk about the users of biological resources, the public who use it for their own life or livelihood. Then the corporates who use biological resources as raw material for producing various biological products, which are marketed in the open for the well-being of the society. And then, of course, the scientific community, who again use biological resources for various research activities. So if you see, institutions or scientific community is common as a user of biological resource, as a conserver of biological resource, as well as a source of biological resource. So they have a major role to play in the conservation of biodiversity and biological resources. And that is why uh, the government thought that this act, the Biological Diversity Act, when this proposal came, it should be formulated by the scientists themselves. Actually appoint Dr. M.S. Swaminathan to chair the committee. The committee comprised of 10 members, which 9 were scientists and 1 lawyer to actually design this act. Sir, can you move to the next slide, sir? So Dr. M.S. Swaminathan actually understood the background of the convention, and he played a major role to bring in this access and benefit sharing mechanism, primarily to help the scientific community. So this act is a scientific act. So that is why even the judiciary find it very difficult to interpret certain terms or certain sections, clauses, because it is primarily designed by a group of scientists for the well-being of the scientists. So it is in interest of the scientific community that they capitalize or use the provisions of the Biological Diversity Act for the well-being of themselves as well as for the scientific institutions where they are working. Next. Next slide, sir. So we have taken the objectives of the convention per se into the Biological Diversity Act. That is, the first objective states that that all sovereign states should ensure that they should conserve our biological resources and then sustainably use them so that these resources are available for posterity. So they are sustainably available to the users. And then there should be a fair and equitable sharing of benefits under the access and benefit sharing mechanism, where the users of the biological resources share a portion of their benefits or their gains or their profit to the people who actually conserve them. So it includes scientists as well. So as on date, 196 countries are parties to this convention, including India. And the parties have agreed to take action to safeguard the biological resources and the traditional knowledge associated with these resources, particularly in the medicinal field or Siddha, Ayurveda, that Ayush area, and also to promote the conservation of these species. So accordingly, the Biological Diversity Act was enacted in 2002, and then the rules were notified in 2004. Next. Next, sir. So, so when we talk about the Biological Diversity Act, the definition of the biological resource states that all plants, animals, microorganisms, their parts, genetic material, and their byproducts constitute biological resources, and all the associated knowledge associated with these components also constitutes biological resource. The Act per se regulates certain activities like commercial utilization of the biological resource, biosurvey and bioutilization, research, intellectual property rights, that is patents, transfer of research results by science or scientific institutions, and transfer of already accessed biological resource or associated knowledge. So these are the activities that are regulated by this act. Next. So the act specifies that whenever a uses or accesses biological resources to produce one of these 6 items, that is drugs, cosmetics, food flavors, extracts, colors, fragrance, genes for crop or livestock improvement, then they are covered under the provisions of the Biological Diversity Act. So far as CMAP is concerned, I think the first component, that is drugs, anyone who is accessing any biological resource for making any drug or pharmaceutical product or Ayush product, then they are automatically covered under the Biological Diversity Act. Next. So when we talk about the users, there are 2 categories of people. One is the Section 7 persons who are primarily Indian citizens, Indian scientists, or Indian corporates, associations, or primarily foreigners. They are not citizens of India. They include the non-resident Indians, OCI, and also the PIO, people of Indian origin category persons or entities, and also any corporate or association or organization which are not incorporated or registered in India, or they might have been registered in India, but which are controlled by a foreigner within the meaning of section 27, clause 27 of section 2 of the Company. So this is a new amendment that has been brought in to ensure that only those who are controlled from outside, they're controlled by a foreign entity, they fall under the section 32 person or entity. So the section 32 person, that is a category 1 person, will have to take the approval National Biodiversity Authority, and the section 7 persons or entities will have to take the approval from the state biodiversity boards or the union territory biodiversity councils. So presently, every state has a state biodiversity board, and the council has the council. Union territories have the biodiversity councils. So under the recent amendment that came this year, so a lot of powers have been now moved from the National Biodiversity Authority to the state biodiversity boards and the union territory biodiversity councils. Next. So coming to the coming to the access and benefit sharing concept, this was introduced at the instance of the developing countries, including India, to ensure that people who are using biological resources, generally, if you see in the world, the economically rich countries will be very lacking in biological resources. They'll be, so far as resources are concerned, they'll be poor. But the developing or the underdeveloped countries, which are primarily between the zone between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, that is surrounding the equator, they'll be rich in biological resources, but actually economically poor. So the developing countries played a major role to ensure this access and benefit sharing concept is brought in, so that the people who are using these biological resources from the developing countries, the corporates, primarily the corporates, share a portion of the benefits to the people who actually conserve them. So whenever you are accessing a biological resource for some utilization, then you have to share a portion of the benefit for the conservation of resource. That is the concept. So this is actually the rightful recognition to the actual conservers of resources and the holders of traditional knowledge. The idea is that whenever you are plowing back a portion of the benefit from the users to the conservers, it contributes in socio-economic development. It also helps in the conservation of that particular species, so that that species does not get eradicated. And then it also helps in financing conservation efforts. Next. So there are different stakeholders, institutions which actually help in implementing this law. The nodal ministry is the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. But this ministry works in tandem with the Ayush Ministry, with the DST, Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Agriculture, and so on. And also scientific institutions like the ICAR, CSIR, ICFRE, and so on. At the apex level, we have the National Biodiversity Authority, which is located in Chennai, which actually grants approvals for Section 3.2 entities. Then there are state biodiversity boards and union territory biodiversity councils, which grant approval for the Section 7 entities. And then at the grassroots level, we have the biodiversity management committees, which are functioning in all the villages. Presently, we have constituted about 2.77 lakh BMCs, which are functioning in different villages across the country. They function as part of the local bodies, and then they prepare the People's Biodiversity Register, documenting all the biological resources. And also the Act has given a lot of powers to them to actually levy fees and also to utilize the access and benefit sharing funds for the cause of conservation. Next. Now coming to the scientists can benefit from the Biological Diversity Act. There are different scenarios in which the scientists will be placed on. Many of them may be knowing these provisions, many of them may not be knowing. I thought I will share the different scenarios in which Indian scientists can benefit from the provisions of the Biological Diversity Act. Now, scenario number 1, it applies to all Indian scientists, Indian research institutions. If there is an Indian scientist undertaking any research, because regulated activity under the Biological Diversity Act. So if there is a scientist, Indian scientist or an Indian research institution which is undertaking research activity on any biological resource from India, they need not take any approval from either the State Biodiversity Board or from the National Biodiversity Authority. So they are free to undertake research. This is scenario number 1. Now coming to the scenario number 2, this is next. This scenario is pertaining to microbiologists. See, microbiologists actually, whenever they isolate a microorganism, they'll have to keep it in a foreign repository to prove their novelty. So whenever they isolate a microorganism from the soil, water, or air, they have to, they normally go in for publication. Before they finalize the novelty, they have to keep it in a foreign repository. So what happens is, whenever a new strain of microorganism is kept in a foreign repository, there is always a possibility for a foreigner to access that microorganism, and then they can use it for a commercial activity with the knowledge of this Indian scientist. So that is why what we have done is, in order to help the Indian microbiologist, we have provided a mechanism where he has to intimate the National Biodiversity Authority in a Form C, which is online provision. They have to apply in Form C in an online mode without paying any fees, and the acknowledgement is instantly generated. So whenever the microbiologist parks or keeps his strain in a foreign repository, the repository is obligated to inform the National Biodiversity Authority whenever a foreigner accesses it for any academic or commercial activity. So in this way, the Indian microbiologist's interest is saved, because whenever a foreigner accesses it for a commercial activity, then as per the Convention on Biological Diversity, he has to compensate the Indian scientists with their profit. So today we have kept an upper limit of 0.5% of the profit. So sometimes it may run and millions and billions of rupees. Whenever, say for example, a drug or a medicine is produced by this microorganism, then the Indian scientist or the Indian institution helped in identifying this microorganism will benefit from this access and benefit sharing funds. Now moving to the scenario number 3. Please move to the next slide, sir. So this is another scenario where the scientists, as part of their research activity, primarily, like for example, a scientist is doing a PhD work or a non-commercial research work. As part of that work, he would like to transfer his biological specimens outside the country for verification or maybe for furthering the research work. Then he has to inform in to NBA in Form B. Again, this is a provision. National Biodiversity Authority grants the approvals within 45 days. So the foreigner who is the recipient of the resource has to provide a declaration that they will be using this resource only for the purpose for which the approval has been granted. Again, this is again to protect the interest of the Indian scientific institution. In case the foreigner actually violates this undertaking, then NBA can sue them under the international law and compel the foreigner or the foreign entity to actually share the benefits of the research or the commercial activity to the Indian institution or the Indian scientist. So this is another scenario. Now moving to the next scenario, scenario number 4. Please move to the next scenario, sir. So this is a scenario where the scientists want to take a patent. So patent is in the form of different types of intellectual property rights are there. Of course, the most common is the patent. So till recently, the Indian scientists have to actually take the approval of the National Biodiversity Authority before filing the patent. So the patent will be granted only after the NBA approval is granted. Now, recently, we have amended the act to ensure that the scientists are not affected. So today, as on 1/4/2024, the 1st April 2024, you have to just register with NBA in an online form at the time of application of the patent, and then there will be an approval granted to the applicant. With that, you can file the patent application, and the patent office will grant the patent. But at the time of commercialization, you will have to inform the NBA, whether it is in India or abroad. So you have to pay a fees of 500 rupees. You have to pay a fees of 500 rupees, and NBA generally grants it within 90 days. And if all the documents are available as per the requirement of NBA, within 30 days also you will get the approval. So again, this is in the interest of the space, so that a person who is actually, suppose a scientist sells his patent to a third party, then third party should not commercialize it without the knowledge of the government or the knowledge of the original patent holder. So NBA ensures that the profit or the gains that are obtained from the patent holder subsequently to the grant of patent, that profit goes to the scientist or the scientific institutions after the patent is granted, and also when the commercialization starts. Whenever there is a right granted under the Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act, then you need not take another approval from the National Biodiversity Authority. So this is scenario number 4. Next, then the scenario number 5. In this scenario, the scientists may want to share their research results to companies. Suppose you do a lot of research, and then tomorrow, say, an Ayush company wants to use research results. So you would like to the research results to the companies. Then in that case, approval is required from the National Biodiversity Authority in Form 2. You have to pay a fees of 500 rupees. In this scenario, only data or technology can be transferred and not any biological resource like seeds or microorganisms. Research result you are having, you can share it to a Section 32 entity. Of the scientist or the scientific institute. So the approval is granted in Form 2. Next is scenario number 6. To the next slide. You move to the next scenario, sir. Can you change the slide? To share the biological resources per se. The earlier scenario, we are only, no, back, sir. The earlier scenario, we were talking about only the research results or data. You want to actually transfer some seeds, say, hybrid seed company or fertilizer or biopesticide company. Then in such
Sir, we are losing your voice, sir. Sir, we are losing your voice. Can you switch the camera? Sir, maybe we can switch off your camera, and because we are losing on your voice, sir. Maybe we can conserve the bandwidth that way. Sir, am I audible to you? Sir, if I'm audible, you can switch off your camera so that we can conserve the bandwidth. Sir, I guess we lost you. There are some network issues on his side. Let us wait for him to join again. Yes, sir, we got you back. I think you can continue now, sir. Sir, am I audible to you?
Sir, I'm very sorry, sir. It is raining heavily here, and then
We understand.
power as
No
well
issues.
as net problem is there. I'm very sorry for this.
No issues,
So,
sir. Please,
in this scenario, sir, in this scenario, if the scientists would like to share their biological resource, as I told you earlier, they have to apply. The company will have to apply, not the scientific institution or the scientist. The company will have to apply by paying 10,000 rupees fees, and then NBA will grant the approval. This is only to ensure that the scientists may not be knowing the actual value of the research work. But the company which is procuring it may be procuring for some lakhs of rupees, but they will be making crores and crores of rupees. So the NBA will ensure that the scientific institution or the scientist is suitably compensated every year. So even CMAP, if you are undertaking any research and if you are selling it to any company, I think you should definitely ensure that the company complies with the BD Act, so that the institution at the end of every financial year, the National Biodiversity Authority keeps transferring the funds that have been mobilized or realized from various companies. So whatever is due to you will come from the company through the NBA. So if NBA gets about 100 rupees, 5% they deduct as administrative cost, and the balance 95 rupees goes back to the institution. So this is a big benefit which we should not miss, particularly when we are selling it to a multinational company, because we do not know the research result or the biological resource which we have produced or conserved after a lot of effort should not move out of the country without the knowledge of our National Biodiversity Authority. Someone starts making billions and billions of dollars profit without the knowledge of our research institutions. So this is only a provision to take care of the interest of our scientists and the research institutions. Move to the next scenario, sir. Scenario number 7. So, sir, move to the next scenario. So the next scenario, sir, please move to the next scenario.
Sir, I think scenario number 7, right, sir?
Seven.
Yeah, yes, sir. I think it is taking a little time to take
No
over.
problem, sir. No problem. So we have another scenario where the scientist would like to have a collaborative research with the foreign institution. Say CMAP would like to have a research with the another institution in say USA or some African country or maybe European country. So in such situations, what happens is you if the collaborative project is approved either by the government of India or by any state government, then actually there is no need to pay anything. You have to just intimate NBA. There is a prescribed format for that. You have to intimate NBA that this is what this is a collaborative project approved by the government, and this format the concerned authority means the government official will have to sign it either in the ministry or in a particular department, and then they will be the NBA will grant the approval. This is another scenario where pertains to research institutions commercializing the products. So in many cases, what happens, maybe research institutions would like to make their own products. Say CMAP maybe wanting to make their own Ayurveda syrup or something like that, or maybe a state agriculture university may want to market their own seed or biofertilizer. In such situations, you have to take the approval of the state biodiversity board. So in fact, it is actually they will decide how much amount will go back to the institution and how much will be used for the conservation of that particular species. Say for example, if you are doing a research work in say amla, so you are entitled that agreement you have to enter between you and the state biodiversity board. So if there is a amla based medicinal syrup which CMAP would like to do, then you will ideally have to take the approval from state biodiversity board, UP state biodiversity board, and then at the time of agreement you will have to decide how much of the amount which is realized will come back to the institution, how much will be used for the conservation of that species. So in this scenario, the State Biodiversity Board's approval or the UT Biodiversity Council's approval is required wherever the institution is functioning. Now move to the next scenario, sir. Scenario number 8. So this is what I was talking about earlier, this collaborative research project. But if there is no government approval between the for the project that is happening between the Indian institution and foreign institution, then the company or the institution will have to apply under Form 1 and then take the biological resource. Unless there is a approval granted by the government, NBA will insist that the foreign institution, it may be a university or a research institution, will have to apply under Form 1, pay the 10,000 rupees, and then take your biological resource, whatever you are going to share it. So this is scenario number 8. Now move to the scenario number 9. Suppose if the Indian scientist or Indian institution want to publish their research work or disseminate their knowledge in any seminar or workshop, then there is no need to take any approval from any authority, either by National Biodiversity Authority or the State Biodiversity Board. So these are the prominent scenarios in which scientists are faced while dealing with the Biological Diversity Act. Next. Coming to the benefit sharing mechanism. So as on date, the benefit sharing mechanism is like this. If the company makes about 1 crore profit, 1 crore profit or the sale value, it is not profit, it is sale value, irrespective of the profit. If the sale value is up to 1 crore after deducting all the taxes, they have to pay 0.1%. So suppose I am a company, I am making a sale value of during this financial year of 1 crore. I have to pay 10,000 rupees to National Biodiversity Authority or the State Biodiversity Board. If the sale value is between 1 to 3 crore, then it is 0.2% of that amount. And if it is more than 3 crore, it is 0.5% of the amount. Similarly, when the research institution or the scientist wants to transfer the results of research, then they have to pay between 3 to 5% of the monetary consideration. Similarly, in the case of intellectual property rights, if the applicant himself commercializes the process, product or innovation, it is slightly lesser. We have kept a slightly lesser component. It is only 0.2%, 0.2 to 1%. 1% we normally keep if there is a violation. Generally, if there is no violation, we give them 0.2% instead of 0.5%, because it is a small incentive to the scientist for the effort he has taken to get this innovation or patent. So it is slightly lesser. If the applicant who is having the IPR or patent assigns or licenses the process or product or innovation to a third party for commercialization, then the third party will have to pay 3 to 5% of the fee received. Sorry, the applicant will have to pay 3 to 5% of the fee received, and every year they will be getting a royalty that again you have to pay 2 to 5% as royalty, because the idea is that the biological resource on which this research or patent has happened, it has been conserved over a period of time by the communities. So this amount will go back to the communities through the biodiversity management committees, which are functioning in the villages, which we discussed earlier. So this is the idea of collecting this 2 to 5% royalty or 3 to 5% of the fee received, monetary consideration, whenever the patent holder sells the patent to a company or a third party. So these are the different scenarios in which the scientists are actually governed. So coming to the benefits for Indian researchers or Indian institutions, the benefits shared by the companies who access biological resources from India or the research results from individual scientists or researchers or any scientific institution in India would be transferred by the National Biodiversity Authority to the concerned researcher or the institution. So you have to put a claim. Suppose you are selling it to a party and then there is an agreement between you, the company and the National Biodiversity Authority. At the end of every financial year, you can always make a claim to NBA that this amount has to come to our institution, and this amount you can open a separate bank account and use it for strengthening your research activity. So unless there is a claim, NBA will also sometimes miss it. When I was secretary, we religiously monitored which are the institutions from where the research material or biological resources moved, and ensured that those research institutions are benefited by transferring the ABS funds to these research institutions. Therefore, it is in the interest of the research community to comply with the Biological Diversity Act whenever they are transferring biological resources or research results to a third party or any entity. So this is in brief about the Biological Diversity Act and how it benefits the Indian scientists and Indian institutions. I am open to take any questions or any clarifications from your side. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. I think I'll just unshare the slides now and request you to open up the uh, camera so that we can have a face-to-face conversation with you.
Sir, I am online only, sir. I am online. Yes.
Yes.
I'm online. Yes.
Okay. And I now open the floor for discussions. So, any questions from the audience side? Okay.
Sir, hello.
Sir.
Yeah, Yogendra.
Good morning, sir.
You
Good
can.
morning. Good morning.
Very good morning, sir. Very nice presentation, very informative, sir. Thank you very much for the very.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, since we are working in the tribal sector also in livelihood enhancement and different states in Arama mission and separate other projects, sometimes we want to move to the conserve or reserve forest, especially wildlife reserves or tiger reserves. So under such situations, they demand a component authority letter, prior permission, or the forest official need to have the approval. Or that time we are facing a difficulty. Example in Mariyur in Kerala, we did some activity under the UNDP activities program. There, that especially that Mariyur tribal sectors,
Yes.
tribal. So each and every time there will be conserve area, wild reserve forest. Under some circumstances, we have to follow any guidelines of this. I want to have information on that aspects.
Sir, generally, whenever you want to move into a tribal settlement, the thumb rule is get the from the forest headquarters. See, like in Kerala, so far as tribal welfare is concerned, I am the person in charge.
Okay.
So it is better you go to the forest headquarters, identify the officer who is in charge of tribal welfare, and get the approval from him. What happens is that at the lower level, the range officers or the divisional forest officers will be apprehensive to grant approval because many of the tribal settlements will also be having a lot of wildlife. In case if there is any eventuality, then they will be held responsible. So it is always in the interest of the institution and the scientists to come and get. So far as Marayur is concerned, you come and meet me or send a mail to me. We'll definitely help you out. Don't worry. In fact, we need a lot of research in the tribal areas, both in the biological resource angle as well as in the from the people side also. So that it benefits them. So we'll be open to helping you, sir. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from our scientists or students? By the time someone else raises the hand, sir, I have a question regarding the scenario number 7, wherein you said that institutions like producing products. So we are also into producing research-based products, wherein we use a lot of medicinal plants, but we try to use the sustainable sources. Like we do not prefer collecting it from the wild and then producing our products. So in such cases, do we have to take the permission from NBA also, state biodiversity?
Not NBA, sir. Not NBA, because you are a Section 7 entity. You are a Category 2 person, Section 7 entity. Ideally, as per law, you have to sign an agreement with the State Biodiversity Board. Ideally. And then ideally you have to, as per law, you have to sign an agreement with the State Biodiversity Board. And many places it's not happening because the boards are also, but now, because now the act is amended, now the hands of the State Biodiversity Boards have strengthened. The recent amendments actually diluted certain powers of the NBA, National Biodiversity Authority, and then that powers have moved to the State Biodiversity Board. Ideally, sir, if you are marketing any biological resource, you should actually get the approval of the State Biodiversity Board. And you are only going to pay 0.5%, sir. See, you are not, suppose you are getting 1 crore, you are selling 1 crore. You have to pay only 10,000 rupees to the board. So it's not a very big amount. In that way, you are actually complying with the law of the land. No one is going to question you.
Okay, sir.
And then this amount will be used by the board, ideally to protect or conserve the same species from where you are actually making the product. That is the idea.
Okay.
That is the idea.
Okay. I got it. So
it's a very small amount. It is not that I am making 50 lakhs and I have to pay 25 lakhs, nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's only a very small amount, 0.1 to 0.5%.
Okay, sir.
That is a.
I got your point. I got your point now, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sundaresan, Dr. Sundaresan, I think you have a question.
Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
A very informative lecture on the important topic. Sir, I have one doubt. CMAP is
Sundar,
continuing.
can you speak a little louder?
Louder, sir.
Sir, CMAP is continuing working to develop different varieties on medicinal and aromatic plants. Nowadays, there is a culture in Nigerian countries. They are growing these varieties in large areas. They want to grow this, suppose say Artemisia or Ashwagandha or this type of medicinal or aromatic plant. They want to grow in large areas, 1,000 acre, 1,000 hectares, like that, especially the African countries. So there are many companies approaching us for the planting material. Okay, this is our own developed varieties by CSIR CMAP. So what is the procedure, or is it whether we can transfer the material, or what type of things are there, sir, to follow?
Sir, if you are actually having this species and you want to sell it to a multinational company, if you want to sell it to a multinational company, ideally the company will have to approach National Biodiversity Authority and take the permission, sir. Because the company will be using this material to propagate it outside, and we do not know how much profit that company is going to get this medicinal species. So ideally, the company will have to take the approval from the National Biodiversity Authority.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
If you are sending it without the knowledge of the NBA, then actually we are the loser. We are the loser because they may be paying say 1 lakh rupees, and then they will be taking the propagules of these species. But we do not know how much profit they are going to make once the material goes out. So they have to be in the loop. The NBA will have to know that this company has collected this material from CMAP, and then every year they have to give their accounts telling that yes, we have used this material, and from this much profit has come. That profit will come back to the CMAP or the scientist concerned.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions from the audience side? I guess there aren't any questions. Sir, I'm really grateful to you for sparing your valuable time for this presentation, especially addressing issues that we all scientists are always concerned about. So that was a really valuable presentation for us. We have learned a lot from you. I really thank you so much for your time. I also thank our director, Dr. Prabodh Kumar Trivedi, who readily agreed in a very short notice for this presentation and to allow us to air it across CSIR scientists and also the IORA participants in other countries. So they're also there in this forum and they have been listening to us. And I guess they've benefited out of this presentation. Last but not least, I'm really thankful to all the audience who are there, who have heard this presentation and benefited out of this presentation. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'm also thankful to Ministry of External Affairs, who has been always been supportive to us in for this series of lectures that we have been conducting on various occasions under the IRA platform. So once again, thank you so much, sir. We'll be in touch with you and will be really grateful if you can come down to CMAP on some particular occasion and address us all. We'll be so happy to have you here, sir. On behalf
Sure,
of
sir.
CMAP,
Sure. Sure, I'll
I
make a
welcome
visit
you.
that side. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much,
much.
sir. And thank you so much
Thank
for
you to all the
attending.
participants also. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
sir.
sir. So
Thank you.
we'll
Thank
close
you.
down, sir.